Look, picture the English language as this crowded, sprawling city. Down at street level, it is just packed shoulder to shoulder with nouns. The people, places, things, and ideas, all of them just clamoring for attention. Now imagine if every single time we needed to refer to one of those citizens, we had to use their full official name. The whole city would just grind to a halt in the state of chaotic, endless repetition. But that's where the shadows come in. In this explainer, we are going to investigate the undercover stand-ins that keep our sentences moving smoothly. We're talking about pronouns, the aliases of English grammar. So let's dive right into this.
To understand our subjects here, we first have to state their official charge. A pronoun is, quite simply, a word that replaces a noun in a sentence. That's it. That is its sole mission. These words act as aliases, stepping in to take the place of a noun just to avoid the grammatical crime of repetition. They are the unsung operatives that honestly make our communication smoother and significantly easier to read.
Let's lay out the case board for our investigation today. We'll start with Part 1, the alias, then Part 2, the usual suspects, Part 3, pointers and connectors, Part 4, the unknowns and mirrors, and finally, Part 5, closing the case.
Okay, Section 1, the alias, defining pronouns.
Let's actually examine the scene of the crime. Without a pronoun, you end up with a really clunky situation. Think about it. Rahul is a good student. Rahul studies every day. It feels exhausting, right? But watch the cleanup. Rahul is a good student. He studies every day. The alias he just steps right in. The communication is suddenly far more efficient and the scene is clean.
Moving on to Section 2, the usual suspects, personal and possessive. Personal pronouns refer to specific people or things, but what's really fascinating is how they completely change their disguise depending on their role in the sentence. Subject pronouns actually perform the action, like I am a teacher or they are doctors, but the second they receive the action when they take the hit, they transform into object pronouns. I becomes me, they becomes them. Obviously, you wouldn't say she called I, you say she called me.
Next up are the possessive pronouns. These operatives show ownership or possession at the scene. We're talking about mine, yours, his, hers, ours, and theirs. Now, there is a really important distinction we have to make here. Do not confuse possessive pronouns with possessive adjectives. An adjective sits right next to a noun, like this is my book. But a possessive pronoun stands entirely alone to claim ownership. This book is mine. It completely replaces the need to even say my book. They work solo.
So, the crucial point is that all of these usual suspects operate on 3 distinct levels of perspective. First person is the speaker themselves, I, we. Second person is the target, the person being directly spoken to, you. And third person is the individual being spoken about from afar, he, she, it, they. Recognizing this perspective helps you track exactly who is pulling the strings in any given sentence.
Let's get into Section 3, pointers and connectors, demonstrative, interrogative, relative.
First in this category are the demonstrative pronouns. I want you to think of these as your direct, on-the-scene evidence pointers. They point to specific targets based entirely on distance. If the target is near to you, the speaker, you use this for singular or these for plural. Like, this is my laptop. If the target is far away, you use that or those. Those belong to the teacher. They rely entirely on your spatial awareness.
But what happens when you don't actually know who or what you're pointing at? Well, when you need answers, you deploy the interrogatives. These pronouns are designed to ask the hard questions. Who is your teacher? What happened? There are 5 specific operatives in this interrogative syndicate: who, whom, whose, what, and which. They exist purely to extract information from the unknown. They literally stand in for the answer that you are trying to uncover. Now, let's see how this builds into something even more complex. Interestingly, many of those exact same interrogative words work double duty as relative pronouns. So instead of asking a question, they act as connectors. They connect a noun to a larger relative clause to give us more background information. For example, the man who helped me is a doctor. The word who isn't asking a question here at all. It's linking the man to the action of helping, acting as a crucial bridge in our investigation.
Section 4. The unknowns and mirrors. Indefinite, distributive, reflexive, reciprocal.
First up here, we have the vague targets. Indefinite pronouns refer to people or things without naming them specifically. Words like, someone is waiting outside, or nobody answered the phone. We know someone is there, but their true identity is hidden in the shadows. On the flip side, distributive pronouns handle groups, but they isolate the members individually.
Words like each, either, neither. For example, saying each received a prize breaks a crowd down into individual, accountable members.
Then we have the operatives that just love the spotlight. Consider this confession. I, myself, solved the problem. The word myself here is an intensive or emphatic pronoun. It adds pure dramatic emphasis. It's a signature move for a subject who wants to take full, undeniable credit for closing a case. The sentence works perfectly fine as I solved the problem, but adding myself gives it that extra punch.
We really must draw a vital distinction here. Intensive pronouns look exactly like reflexive pronouns, but they behave very differently. A reflexive pronoun is absolutely necessary to the sentence because the action returns to the subject, like I hurt myself. If you remove myself, the sentence is incomplete. But with an intensive pronoun, like I myself completed the work, the pronoun is just there to add weight to the confession. It's an enhancer, not a structural necessity.
And we also have to account for reciprocal pronouns. These indicate a mutual exchange between two or more players in the city, things like each other and one another. For example, the brothers helped each other. It shows a two-way street of action, kind of like partners in a syndicate working together to achieve a common goal.
Finally, Section 5, closing the case, summary and identification.
When you are interrogating a sentence and you spot a suspicious word, I want you to run through this precise checklist. First, does it replace a noun? If yes, you've got yourself a pronoun. Then you narrow it down. Does it show ownership? That's a possessive. Does it point to something near or far? That's a demonstrative. Does it ask a question? Interrogative. Does it connect two clauses together? That's a relative pronoun. By asking these exact questions, you can ID exactly which type of pronoun you've cornered.
And here is your master case log. We have officially covered all 10 types of aliases operating within the city limits of our grammar, from the everyday personal pronouns to the vague indefinite ones right down to the mutually beneficial reciprocal ones. Each has a distinct, highly specialized function that keeps our language from collapsing into a chaotic mess.
Which leaves us with one final, kind of lingering thought. Without these 10 syndicates, would our sentences just crumble under the weight of endless repetition? Honestly, yes. Look at your own writing. Consider how bloated, how repetitive, and how utterly exhausting your sentences would be without these unseen operatives doing all the heavy lifting in the shadows. We barely notice them, but pronouns are the quiet heroes of efficiency. Next time you write a sentence, pay close attention to the aliases you're deploying. What kind of operatives are you relying on today? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.